Support for Radio Friends comes from OsteoStrong. Improvements in bone density, strength, and power can be achieved by weekly 5-minute no-sweat sessions on their 4-spectrum machines. These isometric robotic machines safely emulate high-impact loading on different parts of the skeletal system, which stimulates activity in bone-building cells. Balance and agility can be improved by 2-minute sessions on vibration plates. Every session is supervised by a trained coach. Learn more on Facebook or call to set up a complimentary wellness assessment and session. Good morning. Welcome to Radio Friends on Thursday, August the 6th. Lois Long is with us, and we've talked with Lois about many things over the years. I think the first time I met you, Lois, we were dealing with elder care. Yeah. Indeed. But you're here today talking about caregiving, talking about dementia, talking about Alzheimer's, the whole bag.
Right. Well, once I retired almost 18 years ago from working with older adults, many with some kind of dementia like Alzheimer's, I began volunteering, and a lot of the work was with the Alzheimer's Association, but most of it has been as a facilitator for a support group for caregivers. And caregivers carry a very heavy load. This week I was giving a ride for a caregiver to a doctor's appointment, and I asked her what she had learned as a caregiver. Her spouse died several months ago, and she is just a beautiful person. And she said that she thought that caregivers need to realize what a privilege it is, as she has, to take care of someone, and then that they definitely need a network of support. And so I began to think about what Mary said about a network and how, yes, and at different stages we need different assistance. But one of the things besides the support group where we have not met for several months in person, but I call and we do emails and stay in touch with the caregivers. And I think what we call respite, relief time for people who are 24/7 caregivers is important for their health, or they become so stressed that their health goes down.
So true.
And so family, church family, adult children, grandchildren and then neighbors can be a very important part of that respite, that relief for the caregiver to be able to get out and to be away from that constant responsibility to think about what's happening for yourself and for someone else. When we are so involved in something like caregiving, there's little time for some peace, and maybe the person just needs to go out to lunch with a friend.
Sometimes when you're doing caregiving, you can feel like you are backed into a corner.
Indeed.
That there's no way out. There's even though you love that person with all your heart and soul, there's no way to escape.
And when this is in a home, and we've experienced, all of us, what isolation is, you can imagine what it's like for a caregiver, most of the time being at least 60-plus years old, and caregiving for someone who is even older with a kind of dementia, and how this overwhelming, I don't think I can do it anymore, but determined to do it, can result in health problems and a difficult situation that family...
And maybe not eating properly, too.
Exactly. And so I think one of the things we've talked about before is particularly, I think, men associate their independence with being able to drive. And when they are not safe to drive, and perhaps their wife, someone else needs to be doing that, it's a difficult transition. So the caregivers need support to make that change as well. But we are fortunate in this area to have a lot of students who are in nursing, health professions, social work, these young people who want to get to know older people, like grandparent age for them, are a great resource for coming in and building friendships with the person with dementia and the caregiver.
So how does a caregiver then contact or get in touch with a resource like that?
Well, one of the associations I've found is the Area Agency on Aging, which changed its name to Aging Best, has some very great coordinators who help people find resources for that caregiver in home.
Is there a charge for that?
Usually caregivers want to pay the student who is trying to pay tuition, but it's not necessarily the arrangement. It's on an individual basis. And I think the School of Nursing, the School of Health Professions, the School of Social Work would be a great contact for people in this community.
Okay, so let's say somebody right now listening to us needs some assistance. They're a caregiver, but they need just a little bit of time off. Who should they contact?
Well, start with family and then go through, as I said, the Area Agency on Aging and get on the internet. You can find a lot of information. The helpline, which we've shared so many times for the Alzheimer's Association, is for people to call in and get connections to resources. That number is 800-272-3900.
Okay, 800-272.
3900. That is the helpline with the Alzheimer's Association. And I think that's important. It's not only important to get someone to come in and help, but it's important for the caregiver to understand what's happening with the disease.
Okay.
This is a first round experience for
Right.
most people. They don't know what's coming. They don't know what they can count on from the person with dementia. Today they may be able to do something, tomorrow they may not. The brain is a strange thing, and it doesn't function the same from day to day or time to time for somebody with dementia.
Okay, I'm going to give that number one more time again. So it's 800-272?
Correct.
272-3900.
Right.
So if you want to write that down, in case you need assistance, that's a number to call.
And you can get the links. But the truth of the matter is, as caregiving becomes too much for the caregiver in home, people often are referred by their physician to assisted living, where they get support for daily food, personal care, medications. And finally, as the need increases and a long-term care facility is involved, we call those areas specialized memory units. And in this pandemic, they have been locked down. That means caregivers cannot see face-to-face the
And that's not
person
good.
they have cared for a long time.
That's heartbreaking.
Well, it is, but on the other hand, the environment is safe. The person is not going to get the virus if the staff is as careful as they have to be, and the caregiver can talk on the phone. We've seen pictures of them talking,
Right.
but we don't understand the reality of the person with dementia. And so I would encourage people to reach out and accept that help.
All right. And if you want to contact Lois, it's jhlong@socket.net.
That's my email.
jhlong@socket.net. Lois Long, always a pleasure chatting with you. We didn't get your poem in today. Next time. Okay? All right. Something you'd like to hear or see, drop me an email, pepperp@missouri.edu, and get that mask on when you go out, please.